All right, you got the title, and this is my ain't nobody give me shit first impression of the Pocket 3. All right, well, yeah, nobody gave me this camera. I paid for it out of my own pocket. I just bought the actual, what is it, the base model where it was like $519. I mean, basically, yeah, you just get the camera and that's about it. I mean, well, you get the little base thing so you can put a tripod on it. But other than that, yeah, that's about it. That's all you get is just the camera. When you really think about it, do you need all that other stuff? Probably not. Right now, I don't even have the Black Pro mist filter on it. I did buy one from K&F, but I don't have that on there. I just have it as a, let's see, a -2 on my sharpness, and everything else is in auto. All right, so let me talk about a few things on this camera that I like and a few things I don't like. Which the things that I don't like are really just minimal things, more of a preference thing. None of these are deal breakers, just a few things that I kind of wish they'd change about this camera. So one of the first things I don't like about this camera is definitely the field of view. I just think that it needs to be a little bit wider. I mean, not the 155-degree wide that they use on their action cams, but maybe just a tad wider, or which would be a novel idea for DJI, to include the wide angle lens for this camera no matter what you buy. And the next thing, of course, is the flip screen. It's great, I love it, but to me, a person who works on mechanical stuff their entire life, it's that dog hair on my freaking camera. Jeez, oh Pete's, what the hell? Yeah, I just think that this mechanical screen, I know they said they've tested it like a million times, but still, I just think that it is going to be an issue down the line. I know there's some people out there that have had issues with it already. I haven't yet. I've been trying to be real careful with it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. And then the next thing would be the gimbal. I know it's a positive, but it's also a negative. You know, I think this gimbal, to me, seems like it's a lot sturdier than the Pocket 2, but it's still a gimbal. It's still a mechanical part. And I just think if you drop it or anything else like that, it's gonna get damaged. That's why I'm gonna say right off the bat here, I suggest to always get the DJI Refresh. I did that for my Action 2, where I started having issues with it, where it was draining the battery really super quick on both, not only the camera module, but also the screen module. And I think I paid like $19 to have it replaced. So that was a good deal. I did the $55 with this one, so it's a 2-year replacement, and hopefully I'll never have to use it, but I think it's a worthwhile investment. And then I guess the last thing is the battery life. I mean, that's, I don't know. I know they sell a spare battery for this, but then you're talking about something that's adding 4 more inches to this camera. Then I don't know. Then I don't think it becomes a pocket camera anymore, right? I mean, think about it. If you got this long thing hanging off there, that's not a pocket camera anymore. This right here, the way it's set up, even with the small extension on it that you can use with a tripod, that's still small enough to fit into your pocket. Even with the battery part, I guess it's still small enough to fit into your pocket, but I just think it makes it look so much bigger and longer. It would have been nice to have a removable, replaceable battery for this, where you could buy spare ones, plug it in, pull it out, plug it in. That would have been awesome. I guess I see why they didn't do that. I guess it's just the nature of the beast of this type of pocket camera. Maybe in the future, they'll be able to work something like that out. All right, now let's move on to the things that I do like about this camera. You know, this is supposed to be my first impression of it, not a real review of it. I don't even know if I'll do a review. If you want a review, just go on YouTube and you'll find plenty of them. All right, so the first thing I really like about this so far that I've seen is the normal color profile. I'm gonna say that it is close enough to natural colors that you could probably need or use. It's just fantastic the way it looks. Once you get, and even if it is a little oversaturated, you could probably even bring that down just a little bit in post. But overall, it's not bad. It looks good, and definitely looks good enough for YouTube. Now, even though I talked about the screen being a part I didn't like because of the way it flips, it's also the part I love about this because it is definitely big enough. As you see, I'm looking at the screen, but it is big enough to where you can see yourself. Even holding the camera out here, you can still see yourself and keep yourself framed in the picture. I mean, that's fantastic. Compared to the Pocket 2, where it was so small and so tiny, these old eyes, they definitely can't see that screen that well. It was tough to try to see that screen and look at where you were at on the camera itself. Now this screen here is so much nicer, so much bigger, and definitely can keep yourself framed so that, you know, you're actually looking like you know what you're doing, which, well, I don't think I do. All right, and then the next thing I really like about this is that smart gimbal mode. If you look on the left hand of the screen, in the middle, there's this small little icon sitting there. I guess you would call it an icon, I don't know. And you hit that, and then you can actually set it up so that you can do the rule of thirds. Now, I think the rule of thirds maybe go a little bit too far. They're not bad. As you've seen on just what I did before, I had it on that. You do face lock, you just use the button. It's actually pretty cool. It actually works really, really well. You can keep yourself framed. It helps you do the rule of thirds, I guess, and that's what all of us professional YouTubers do, although I'm not a professional YouTuber. I wish I was, but not even close. Not even near that. All right, and then the next thing, go out, get you the mic 2. Now, all I did was bought the individual mic 2. I think it was like 99 bucks, and it is fantastic. You can control the camera, you can start recording, you can stop recording with it. You can also do internal recording, which not something I really do anyway. And if you have a nice little lav mic, you can hook that right up to it. Although, oh, I think I just knocked it out of my thing here. But yeah, you can control your camera with it, which is nice to have, especially if you're doing like a walk up or something like that, or you want to be back a little bit further and still record your audio. This thing works great. I have the OG mics and they're fantastic too. I don't even know what I'm going to do with them. I may sell them eventually, you know, maybe let them go pretty cheap. I used them for quite a while and they worked fantastic. The only thing that I didn't like about them is you had that receiver hanging off the back, and which would be almost impossible to use with this camera. But this, no receiver, that is the receiver, and it works perfect. All right, well, that's my first impression of this camera. Am I keeping it? Oh yes, I'm definitely gonna keep it. Is it probably for everybody? Maybe not. I didn't know if it was for me because I bought the Pocket 2 and I never used that camera. But I think a lot of that was because I was afraid to use it because I did not have the DJI refresh. I bought a lot of accessories. That's a whole other vlog. I will be talking about those accessories and what you should buy and shouldn't buy, because I tell you what, I've went down that rabbit hole one too many times. Overall, it's a good camera, but I was just afraid to use it. I was afraid I was gonna break the dang thing, and I spent, I mean, I think it was more than what I spent. No, I think it was $4.99. So it was about the same price as what I spent on this one. And I just thought, man, I wanna break this camera and where am I going to be then? Because I did not get the DJI refresh. So if you do buy this camera, get the DJI refresh. So that's it. This was my, nobody ain't giving me jack shit, you know what I mean, to talk about their cameras. Even if they did, I'd be honest about it. If I didn't like it, I would say it. So far, liking this. Is it fragile? I think so, but I think it's still a fantastic camera, great image quality, looks good, works good, easy user interface. So that's all I got for you. Take care. We'll see you next time.